Hi, this is Don Farber with Vineyard Soft Corporation, and I'd like to welcome you to this training session on the KnowledgeSync solution. The topic for this session will be preparing KnowledgeSync to generate and deliver crystal reports. Now, there are three ways in KnowledgeSync that you can generate and deliver crystal reports. The first of those ways is referred to as a scheduled report. A scheduled report is one that gets generated and delivered on a recurring schedule, such as a daily open receivables report or a weekly stock status report. Now, the second way that a report can be generated is referred to as a triggered report, as this is a report that gets generated and delivered, but only when certain database conditions warrant it. For example, you might have an event that checks to see if any items in stock have dropped below their reorder level. If you associate a crystal report to that event, that report becomes a triggered report, and the report will generate only if the event's conditions are met. The third and final way that KnowledgeSync can generate and deliver crystal reports is referred to as an on-demand report request. That utilizes KnowledgeSync's ability to monitor incoming email, and a person can simply email KnowledgeSync and within that message request that a specific report get generated and delivered back to them. Now, before we can look into any of those three ways of generating reports from KnowledgeSync, we need to first define the available reports that KnowledgeSync can generate. And we're going to be working in our sample application. This is a small ERP accounting and manufacturing application that's used in KnowledgeSync's trainings and tutorials. We are going to start out by right-clicking on the sample application branch and choosing the option to create a new report definition. Now, I happen to know that we have a report in our database that reports on excessive freight charges within orders, and so we'll start out by defining that report. We will call it our excessive freight report as its name, and when we hit tab, that report name is automatically copied into the report description field. You can retain that or add to it with additional details about this report if you like. At this point, we can come down to the report file field and specify the location of the report's source file, or in Crystal, the .rpt file location. And so we'll click on our Browse button. We'll navigate to the folder in which I've put these reports. Here is my excessive freight report, and I will select that particular report. Do note that if the report exists on a different server, you must not utilize mapped drives. In other words, do not use a mapped drive. In their place, reference the file's location using UNC format. Now, the final field that we come to on the report definition window is referred to as the output file name, and you will notice that this is an optional field. If you leave this field blank when KnowledgeSync generates this report, KnowledgeSync will randomly create a report name using some combination of letters and numbers. However, there are some cases where you want to put your own name or specify the name of the report output file once it is created. For example, we might wish to call this output file name excessive freight. So we'll simply put in that name here and let it go like that. A couple of important notes about the output file name. Number one, you must not specify a file extension such as .pdf or .html, etc., because KnowledgeSync will automatically do that for you based upon the output format of the report that you've chosen. And that output format is specified within the individual options to create a scheduled, triggered, or on-demand report. It's also worth noting that this output file name can contain field variables. For example, If you have a KnowledgeSync event that looks at new sales orders and automatically generates an order confirmation or invoice using a Crystal report file as its template, you can have KnowledgeSync automatically name that output file name, that invoice form, using, for example, the customer's name, the sales order number, or other such information. However, this is all that we need to do in order to define this report within the KnowledgeSync system, at which point we can go up to the top left of this window and click on Save and Close. Now, depending upon how much information is in that report, it may take a few seconds, as much as perhaps 20 or 30 seconds for KnowledgeSync to save that report record. Just be patient, and you will eventually be returned to the main KnowledgeSync module, and here we're working in the Navigator. Now that wraps up this particular training session on preparing KnowledgeSync to generate and deliver Crystal reports, and that was the process of defining those reports within the KnowledgeSync system. The following report training sessions will focus on creating each of those three types of reports in KnowledgeSync: a scheduled report, a triggered report, and finally, an on-demand report. Thanks very much for your time and attention. We look forward to speaking with you in a future training session.